everybody. Okay, this is the Karen Reed trial, day 11. We finally got some fireworks. It took 11 days, but we're here. All right, I'll explain what I'm talking about when we get there. Um, there were four witnesses today, and for the most part, it was nothing. It was just the same old, same old. Everybody repeating the same things, and I feel like I'm getting a headache because they're repeating themselves. And then I finally had kind of given up and said, "Okay, there's gonna be nothing." And then, boom, the bombshell. Okay, so we start with the cross-examination of Caitlin Albert, one of the many members of this family who lives in the house where the victim was found on the lawn. Now, I had some questions just ultimately in my head even before anything started, and they kind of are in the range of how did no one notice a body on a lawn? No one noticed, no one raised any questions, no one said anything. This sounded sus, and this was before we even started. Okay, so Caitlin Albert is the oldest of the Albert children, and I am convinced that they are going to interview everybody who was in that house and maybe some other people and still not get anywhere. And so I don't know. Because every time they bring someone on the stand, they know stuff until the afternoon, and it's like they get the amnesia, which I've talked about. Okay. Caitlin Albert. Let's talk about her for a second. She's 29 years old. The reason why I know this is because in part of the testimonies, I guess, for whatever reason, the prosecutor asked, "What are the names and ages of your children?" to Nicole and Brian Albert. So that's how I know the names of most of their kids and their ages. So Caitlin happens to be the oldest, and she's 28. Okay? Um, and the reason why I know this is because, once again, like I said, they talked about it, but then also I thought about it when they made her a witness first, and then her boyfriend came to testify after her. All right. So she said that she was there, but she didn't say anything bad, and that nothing seemed out of the ordinary for her. So then, here's how. Okay, then we get a bit of funny testimony. And I mean funny to the point where everyone in the courtroom was laughing. Okay, I'll take you to the moment because it was so outrageous and so funny at the same time. I can't help but remember it. Okay, so there, her boyfriend, Tristan Morris, is on the stand. And they're asking him questions, and they ask him a pivotal question in the form of, "Why were you not there? Why was your girlfriend not there?" Or something like that. And he says, now this is verbatim, "I wasn't there because high she is high maintenance, and I didn't want to deal with her." To this response, the whole everybody started laughing loudly. I've never heard a laugh like that ever in any trial. And I've now up to like at least four or five. Okay. Never heard that. And let me tell you how this guy was dressed. Okay. So I also have to tell you what his job is because then you'll understand why it's so abnormal that he was dressed in the way he was. Okay. So he has on like pants, obviously, and a jacket, right? Because you're going to be in court. You have to look more professional than you would normally. Okay, so his jacket, the color of his jacket is like wine red. Seriously, for a man. So, the commentators on the stream I was listening to says he probably said that thing about his girlfriend because she's the one who told him to dress like that. And also, okay, here's the thing about his job. He, no lie, is a pipe fitter. So, okay, put that in relation to what I just said. I don't think many pipe fitters care what kind of jacket, what color they're wearing. Just a guess, but I don't think so. Okay, so he basically said nothing of any importance. So let's go on to the next witness. Next witness, and the next two witnesses were the last witnesses of the day because Tuesday is a half day. All right. So the next witnesses are friends of Brian Albert Jr. Um. Okay. So the first witness is Sarah Levinson, and the second witness is oh Jesus, I forgot her name for a second. Hold a second. Um, Jesus. It's called Jenny or hold on. Something simple. Forgot her name. Hold a second. All right. Well, I'll remember it in a second. Um. Okay. So the first one is Sarah Levinson. Okay. And what's funny about this is because when the father, Brian Albert Sr., was on the stand, they asked to discuss and physically describe his son's friends, and he wouldn't say anything. So the commentator said, I can see why they didn't say anything, because they're a little bit on the bigger side. Not bad, but okay. Sarah Levinson is somehow a registered nurse, and okay, so I find this odd only because okay, if you're an RN and you have that kind of commotion going on, you don't check to see if the person's all right. That's just odd to me. That's odd. Okay, odd, very odd. Um, So then we get to the last witness, who I still can't remember her name. It's something Nagel, Nagel. Um, Julianne or Julie or something. I think her name is Julianne, but they shorten it to Julie. Okay. Uh, all right. So she's been friends with him for a long time, and here's the bombshell. The reason why, I guess, the reason why I forgot her name for a second is because it was very, very weird. Her testimony was very weird. And the reason I say this is because at this point I was paying attention to everything that was going on because I knew the witnesses were going to be shorter and shorter, so I had to pay attention, right? Okay, so her whole affect changed at about 2+ hours into the interview or the being on the witness stand. Okay, at first she was, well, let me just say she didn't want to answer any questions at all. Not really, anyway. However, when she was, now this is going back into behavioral, behavioral stuff. But okay, there's a term they use that when someone's telling a story, they lope along. Like they're just telling the story and it's like melodic and no skips, no bumps, no whatever. Okay, so imagine this. She's like that for a bit. And then they get to a point where she doesn't want to answer anything. So then she stops dead cold, and also her voice, I don't know. Her voice turns really low, and just her whole affect changes. She goes from like pretty pleasant to I'm not sure if I can do the face justice, but it's like, I don't know. I can't really be mad unless I'm mad. But imagine the maddest face you ever had. Imagine a permascal, okay? And imagine answering questions through a permascal. This was this chick. Um, okay, so here's the bombshell comes. She's supposedly sitting on the passenger side, or she can see through the driver window. She notices a black blob. This is her words exactly. A black blob in the ground near the flagpole. Now, does she say anything to anybody? No. She says a little something to Sarah, the other girl, but they don't really raise any questions and no one talks about it. Now, and then here's the other part that I was like, oh my god. Okay, so they say, okay, so you see this black blob, and can you tell me how big it was? 6 foot. Swear to God, 6 foot. The reason why this is important, ladies and gentlemen, is the victim was 6 feet 2 inches. So don't you think 6 feet and 6'2" is slightly close? So what I'm trying to tell you is that I think she saw the victim before he was a victim, and she either said something and the people disregarded it, which would be weird, and or she said nothing, which is really weird because who wouldn't notice that? Okay, and then after that, she was trying to be completely different than she was. This is very, very odd. But literally, my jaw when she said that, and then the other part was on the floor. On the floor. Because I had to go back and say, wait a minute. Did I hear that right? Are my ears playing tricks on me? I didn't hear that right. I had to go back and listen to it again. She said that. And she had no concern about what was going on. So, okay, this means to say that her testimony alone, but also in conjunction with some other people's testimonies and how sketched they've been, leads me to believe that somebody is guilty and all the other people who are not are covering for the guilty party. And this didn't happen until this woman's testimony. I was like, what in the, this makes no sense whatsoever. And then I was like, oh God, oh well, oh okay, we're on to something, but holy. And I was saying some stuff I can't say on YouTube, but I was saying it in my house. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have like at least 2 bombshells, maybe 3. And we have a bunch of BS. But see, the BS, it's not that it doesn't bother me, it's that we've had the BS since day one, pretty much. But this is like the bombshell of all bombshells. Combine that with the fact that she saw the blob, and then it happens to be 6 foot. Coincidence? I ask you. You make up your own mind. But if I'm a juror, even with even if I knew nothing else besides what I knew in the beginning, which is someone was unalived, and he happens to be 6'2", and then I hear the testimony today, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, got me. That's just me, but Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I didn't mean to smile, but when something actually makes sense and I start to connect the dots a major way, I mean, besides my senses all tingling and stuff, but when I actually fit the pieces of the puzzle together and I'm like, okay, got it, I consider that a win. So, but you guys make up your own mind. All right, bye guys.